be honest, pricing your artwork really sucks. Like, makes you want to rip out your hair sucks. Good news, we're here to make it suck less. I'm Ilana, and this is my business partner, Katie. We are two self-employed artists on a mission to help other artists make more money doing work that they love. In today's video, we're going to talk specifically about pricing your work for art licensing. And if you're wondering, WTF is art licensing, go ahead and check out our video, An Introduction to Art Licensing for Beginners. Let's dive in. If you've ever gotten an email inquiry in your inbox and gotten really excited about the opportunity, but then let it sit there for days just haunting you because you don't know how to price the project, you're not alone. As a working artist, your work can feel really personal, like it's a piece of you that you're giving away. So of course, there's going to be a lot of emotions that come up around the topic of pricing your work. One of the reasons we feel it's so important to talk about this is because as a whole, as an industry, if we can start to have a little bit more transparency about the subject of pricing our work, then everyone can start to elevate the industry together and charge higher and create higher standards. That way we don't have one artist over here charging $200 for the same thing another artist is charging $1,200 for. Now, remember that sometimes you're going to work with clients who have never worked with artists before, so they truly have no idea what their budget should be for the project. So that means one of the most important things to do is to educate our clients on our value and how we have so much to bring to the table. Instead of just throwing a number at them, we can explain the impact, the lasting impact our work is going to have on their brand or on their product. So with art licensing, you are basically renting your artwork to a client to use on products. Now, think about that. If that product didn't have that artwork on it, it would not be as valuable. Your artwork really brings it to the next level and is the reason why so many people want to purchase it. So let's just remember your work has a lot of value and adds a lot to the project. So whenever I get an inquiry, I need to gather a lot of information from the client. And I always ask, do you have a budget in mind? Sometimes you'll work with a client who has never worked with an artist before and they might have no idea what the budget should be, but other times you'll work with someone who has worked with artists several times and they know exactly what their budget is. So it's always okay to ask them if they have a budget that they want to stay within so that you can cater your proposal to them. Or of course, if you can't do anything within that budget and it's way too low, you can tell them that unfortunately your prices do not align with theirs. I like to think about pricing as a sliding scale. There's room to move up and down depending on several factors. So the first factor, of course, is being the scope of work and the deliverables, which you want to get that information right up front. The price is going to be really different if it's one illustration or 20. So if it's one greeting card versus 20 greeting cards, but everything else is the same, obviously more work, more deliverables, more scope means more money. The other thing you want to think about is the usage terms. So that means how long is that product going to be on shelves? How long do they need a license for? And how wide does that license expand? Is that an international license or is it just a specific territory? Maybe it's just for one season or maybe it's for several years, which of course, the longer the duration, the higher that price is going to go. Okay, so Katie and I really don't love the idea of pricing your work hourly, but hold on, here's a but. We really like to use our hourly rate and how long something is going to take us to help us start with a ballpark number. So if it's one illustration, let's say it's going to take us 3 hours, our hourly rate for 3 hours is the starting point. And then we're going to use that sliding scale to add up and down based on the usage terms and anything else that might factor in. So we'll slide the scale up if it's a longer license. It's a 3-year license instead of a 1-year. We'll slide it down if they only need it for one category instead of for 2 or 3. And then we'll think about things like the time frame. Do they need this project next week or do we have plenty of time to get rolling with the project? Another thing we love to do when we're pricing our work is honestly ask a friend. Like, phone a friend, hello, have you ever done this before? Who wants to be a millionaire? We do. What was I saying? So Katie and I will call each other if one of us has done a project that the other hasn't and just check our pricing. This often just gives us the validation that our gut was screaming at us of if we should price a little bit higher or maybe we've gone a little crazy. The other place we like to look is the Graphic Artist Guild Handbook, which we always have on our desk and nearby. Jessica Hish's Dark Art of Pricing, which is great. And we also have a pricing guide called Pricing with Purpose. Price with Purpose is our pricing guide that has over 35 case studies from other artists just like you with real numbers, okay? So we ask them, how much did you charge? What was the project? Are you happy about what you charged? And how much experience did you have? There's tons more information and we will link that down below in case you want to check it out. So now let's talk about a real life example. Katie and I are both primarily lettering artists, so we do a lot of greeting cards. We found that greeting card artwork usually ranges from as low as $250 to about $1,500. Now that could be in several forms of payment. That could be in a flat fee, or it could be flat fee and royalties, or it could just be royalties. And if you're doing royalties, it's from about 3% to 8%. Now, again, you have to think of the reach of the client. That's a huge one that goes into the price. Is this going to be in some big box stores, or is it going to be in a small local mom and pop shop where you're not going to have as many sales? Remember that if you're selling in a store like Target where their volume is humongous, a 3% royalty could be a big chunk of change. Our absolute favorite way of getting paid is when there's a royalty along with an advance so that we have a little cash for now and then we get those royalty checks coming in month after month, several months after we've completed the project. Cha-ching! One of the best tips I ever got for negotiating my work and to price my work is that you should negotiate on the deliverables, not the dollars. Our friend Jazz said that, and she is the self-proclaimed pricing queen. Now, what that means is that you can change what's included in your scope of work or in the usage terms instead of just trying to get them down in number. We're big fans of negotiation. So anytime, even if the client says, here's our budget for the project, you can show them a proposal and tell them what's included and ask if they're able to make that work. The worst they have to say is no, and you're in no different position than you were just a couple emails ago. This video specifically talked about how to price your work for art licensing, but there's so much more to say, like value-based pricing and full buyouts, which can be a huge chunk of change. Let us know in the comments what specific questions you have about pricing your work. We'll be sure to answer them in another video. If you want more tips about how to grow your art business, go ahead and subscribe to our channel where we release a new video every week. We're artists who mean business, and we're in this with you. See you next time.